Apologies for not being able to make it there in person. Been feeling a bit under the weather this week. I'm just here to tell you about some of the employability work that we've been doing with the Applied Linguistics program at the program level, and then into like individual course work that we're doing. So this is something that I think since I took over from um, the coordinatorship, the discipline coordinatorship of this role, coming out of COVID situation, it's been on my mind a lot in terms of what it is that applied linguistics is, and what it does, and what we're preparing our students to do outside of language teaching. I mean, traditionally, we've been focused on TESOL and training TESOL teachers, and preparing either new upcoming TESOL professionals to enter the job market, or providing certification for existing professionals who need that master's degree to take the next step in their careers. But then outside of that, applied linguistics these days is so much more than just simply language teaching. And this kind of really asked us to kind of look in ourselves and to come up with a new definition of what we think applied linguistics is, and to try to make the links between our program and the courses and the skills that we promote on our programs, and the kind of career pathways that a degree in a master's degree in applied linguistics might take you to. So we begin this by just straight away taking a look at our website, the way that we sell ourselves, the way that we advertise our program. And we came together as a team to essentially redefine what we mean by applied linguistics. And we have here our kind of agreed upon definition about what applied linguistics is, namely the study of how languages are used, how they can be analyzed, learned, and best be taught. And then within this usage and analysis and teaching paradigm, to try to work out then the different kind of career options that are available. We've given advice on why to choose a degree in applied linguistics. What are the skills? What are the knowledge? What are the tools that we're preparing you to use within our courses, within our program? What is your identity as an applied linguist? This is something that I think we had to ask ourselves first. And then once we had a handle on this, and I think the field of applied linguistics as a whole has struggled with this for some time now. And there's clearly a lot more work and research to do in this space. But to try to think about some of the different career pathways that might, some of the skills that were valued by employers, for example, critical thinking, problem solving, big language data analysis, corpus linguistics, discourse analysis, all of these skills are now incredibly high in held regard by government agencies, nonprofits, educational institutions, businesses. So many different transferable skills, capabilities, and attributes we develop by studying applied linguistics at the undergraduate and postgraduate levels. So based on this, having this as a start point then allowed us to get into our work together with Angie here on the applied linguistics employability mapping. And this is not yet complete, not yet finalized. It's a work in progress. But essentially what we've been asked to do, and what we're currently working on, is the ability to consider students' journey into our program. How are we talking about employability? How are we talking about careers within applied linguistics as students enter our program, prior to entry and at the orientation stage? Then how are we allowing students to meaningfully reflect on experiences to develop employability, meaningfully communicate their employability skills to others, think about what professionalism in this field means and how we prepare others for professional practice, and how this is done during, or students go through their studies from the first semester up until the final stages of their degree, where we then focus on the journey out. So just immediately prior to graduation, thinking particularly here about the capstones, whether that's the research dissertation component or the portfolio and synthesis components of our degrees, and how these capstones are helping students reflect on their employability that they've developed so far, and think about the skills and be able to then prepare to successfully transition away from being a student into becoming a professional through the development of research skills, employability development as a lifelong learner, and having that strong professional identity. So we've done this at the program level, again, spaced out in terms of its journey in, work that we've already done, work that we need to do, particularly in terms of the My Career Advisor platform, which for those of you who aren't sure what that is yet, you can get these set up for your program with the assistance of Angie and the My Career Advisor team, who fortunately, one of the members of that team has come through our program and has tutored for us. So it's great to be able to have that disciplinary knowledge with the people that are working on these. These My Career Advisor platform content is divided up into 4 different components from pre-entry. Stages 2 and 3 are supposed to be done during the studies. And then there's also a 4th component in terms of covering the transition to the workplace and ongoing career development. At the present point in time, this is all quite generic and general. And then in the next semester, now that we have that program planner for pre-entry, during entry, and beyond, we can then start to populate this with more specific applied linguistics specific content. And students will also, as of semester 2 intake, be able to track their completion of these different resources in the bid to receiving certificates for completion that they can then add to their portfolio all the way up until graduation. So it's going to be exciting to see that finally implemented with that applied linguistics specific content going forward. In terms of our mapping and how we've done that, we've developed things at the program level, some ideas there in terms of how the different stages of the My Career Advisor package can be embedded across the different themes and when we're going to implement those within the student's journey. And then a useful distinction is to split up the different kind of courses and skills and employability attributes that students are covering on those courses across 3 different levels, namely an introductory level, the developmental level, and the professional level there at the highest. And probably as of tomorrow, we'll be mapping these different things that we've added onto the map and subdividing these according to their level, whether that's introductory, developmental, or professional there, all the way into the journey out, where again, we'll divide up the different learning attributes and assessments and skills in that program there. So again, this is still a work in progress. It's something that we're meeting again tomorrow to finalize, and we hope to have a complete draft of this in place that will be student facing, that will be there in place for semester 2's orientation session, so that those new students who are coming into their program will be given this map, and they can very clearly then see the different skills that they'll be acquiring as they enter the program, as they go through the different courses, and what the skills are that they're supposed to have prior to completion and in those final capstones. And having that all mapped out then makes their reasons for choosing the courses that they're going to choose much clearer. It gives them some certainty about what the degree will bring to them. It gives them some ideas as to some of the career options that are available with the skills that they're going to get from this degree, beyond that of TESOL or simply language teaching, into different areas that will map onto the skills that they've acquired on the different courses. So by way of example, a course that I run is SLAT 7827, which is second language writing teachers for professional practice. We embedded, myself and Angie together embedded a complete work integrated learning assessment into that course in collaboration with an online work integrated learning provider called Forage. And essentially, we found a short online work integrated learning program from that provider that was run by a body called Teach for Australia. And it looks essentially something like this. It's called Leading a Classroom, and it's called a virtual experience program. It takes about 2 hours to complete. It helps them with some practical skills and experience of watching a teacher prepare a lesson plan and presentation on a particular topic. And then what we do in our course is we give students some pre-reading, and we ask them to take what they're doing here and to convert that to the context of preparing and leading a lesson plan for students who are studying in a second language writing context, whatever that will be, whether that's, say, academic writing, secondary school, or something along those lines. So students then complete all of those tasks through Teach for Australia. They receive the certificate of completion from Forage, which they then upload as part of completion for that task. And then the final part of the assessment requires them to write a reflective essay on that procedure, addressing what the experience in the virtual program suggests to them about professional weaknesses and opportunities for development. Think about strengths that the program helped them to identify, and to consider how they might leverage those strengths moving forward to further develop their employability as a second language writing teacher and or researcher. So that's just one example of many work integrated learning activities. And again, once we're able to map these different activities across our curriculum by theme, at the program and individual course level, at the introductory, developmental, and professional level, whether that's on the journey in, the journey through, or the way out. Once we understand what it is that we're doing, and this exercise has been so helpful in helping us to understand that, converting that then to that student-facing document, and even getting that on our Applied Linguistics website as that outward-facing employability map, is something that, to the best of my knowledge, has just never been done before in my field, like in applied linguistics. Applied linguistics programs around the world just have not yet got to grips with this employability issue, and I think that we're really leading the way there, working with Angie together on this topic. And there's also endless opportunities for research and for analysis of what's coming out of this situation. So I guess that's all I had to present. I'm not sure if I can hear the room to get questions. So unless you want to type something in the chat, maybe, Adriana. The chat's working, but otherwise I can't hear anything in the room. I'm going to stop sharing my screen here.
Any questions or?
Oh, I've got the sound now.
Oh, awesome. Great. Maybe we I don't know what Chris had a magic touch, had a magic touch here. So do we have any questions? Thank you so much. Just to start with, Peter, because I think that at the program level in our school, I think it was so useful to see that the examples, even within the courses.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if some colleagues have questions or comments or. Yes, so we have Amber here. I don't know if you can see her.
Hey, Peter, thanks. Can you hear me clearly? Yeah.
Yeah, I can hear.
Great. Peter, just for context, I'm a learning designer in Haas. I've just joined, but I have an MA in applied linguistics. Just to be an ex-TESOL teacher. So my thinking as I mean, it's awesome. It's super exciting. I agree. It's not really being done that explicitly for students. So that's exciting. I'm thinking about the balance of teachers who come or students who come into an MA, including myself, who was already a working professional in the field and was getting that qualification to evidence my work, and how we might make sure that on implementation, both a student who's not yet a practicing teacher and a professional who's already a practicing teacher will feel about those assessments.
Yeah, 100%.
I'm thinking about it as, you know, it's not a challenge. I'm just curious about I'm so curious to see how it goes in implementation. If I was in that course and I was being asked to reflect, would I feel stretched? Would it still have value? I think the answer is yes. But I'm kind of thinking aloud here as I go.
So
just add value to that.
When we ran that assessment last semester, we actually did a follow-up with Angie together, asking students what they thought about the assessment and how it worked. We did a little survey and interviewed some of the students as well, and the response was pretty much overwhelmingly positive. I think the complaint they had was that maybe some of the content wasn't perhaps relevant to second language writing specifically. So I guess that was the problem of having like a more generic course but linked into a specific topic. So that bit was hard to kind of weld together. But actually doing the assessment was good practice for them, because a lot of them, yes, they're teachers, but they may have just been teaching in, say, private language schools, or they may have some public certification, but then their teaching context may be completely different from the kind of context that some of the other students are working on. So just looking at and being able to see how it's done in Australia, for example, through that website is of great interest for them. And that's one of the reasons why they come here. They come here to get ideas that they can take back home with them and that they can try to apply in their own teaching context. So I guess another response to that is that the TESOL is the main market, obviously, for our courses, and the vast majority of our students who come through want to work in TESOL. They want to be TESOL teachers. But the most frequent question that I'm asked by everybody is, what else can I get with this degree? And that question just comes up so often. And I think for a very long time, applied linguists have struggled to answer that question meaningfully themselves. I mean, I could put this to you, and again, I don't mean this as a challenge, but like, if you have a degree in applied linguistics, how many times have you had to explain what that is to someone?
Yeah, I agree. And in reality, it's a very sessional, it's very insecure work. And in reality, I was doing the MA to get out of the industry and take those skills somewhere else. So I'm probably, which is what I've done. I'm still in the industry, but I've taken those teaching skills and further qualifications into a different area. So exactly. And
by so many of our graduates, like they come in as TESOL teachers, but they leave as something quite different. So they end up as learning designers, they go into government, they go into education management, they go into private language schools and set up their own businesses, all of these different things that they can do with that degree, while still keeping that core business of training the next generation of TESOL teachers. So but I think in making it explicit, if I'm ever asked that question again, like, what's an applied linguist? What is applied linguist? What do they do? I'd probably throw myself off a building or something. That I've got it clear in my mind, and that our graduates then, when they're coming in and as they're doing their studies, that's also very important, because I think that a lot of them feel like they want to give up because they don't get it. They don't see the point. They don't know where it's leading. And then on the way out as well, bringing everything together into that portfolio assessment and reflecting on the employability and the skills that they've gained and what they can do with those. It's just great to see the things that people write to me, like in the letters, like, by the way, I got this job here, I'm now doing this. Some of the things are kind of like, how did you end up there? But still, it's really good for us. So it's good for the staff, it's good for the students, and I think it's good for the program to just really open ourselves up like this. And as I said, looking globally, I don't see any other program that has gone to these steps yet, and I think that we can really, you know, set a trend in this area, and there's so many possibilities here in this space.
Yeah, sounds really powerful. Thank you. The question?
Well, no, I mean, I was just sort of nodding because, thank you. I think that the microphone should can you hear me without the mic as well, or is it better with the mic?
World's loudest thing. So it's all good. I can hear you down the street, I think.
Okay, that's what I thought. I think this is I teach in this, I usually can hear people speaking. So I have a loud voice already. Sorry, I didn't mean to. Teacher voice, Anna. Yes.
All good. No,
I'll use the inside voice now. I was just commenting on the diversity of student experience when, you know, people come in sometimes thinking that it may be this, you know, I might be doing this, but it may not necessarily be a very fixed kind of idea. And I've worked in a program in the US where it wasn't called an applied linguistics, it was language studies for a reason, because we had students coming in working, you know, teaching different languages. But what we found for those who were TESOL oriented, a number of them actually stayed in the United States teaching their native languages as foreign languages, and like a smaller version of what you're doing was already done as part of the planning in that program to set the program apart from other TESOL programs in the country, you know. So I think, and it actually, that was something that was a consistent feedback we were getting from the students, is having more than one opportunity spelled out, and, you know, having students not just work on courses that seem to be part of what a particular teacher of a particular language does, but also reflecting and doing, we weren't using the terms transferable skills and employability, but the whole point of that MA program, which was a professional training, was definitely, you know, into having them explore and cross, you know, kind of step outside of the box. And I think this is the right approach to doing that. I wish we could do it with undergraduate degrees more. You know, I think, you know, when it's an MA degree, it's a little bit more contained, sort of, right? It's even more abstract and more vague with just, you know, like people still ask me, you know, what can you do with Russian in Australia? You know, that's even a harder question than what is applied linguistics, right? You know, but it's absolutely true that I think we could, and having that student feedback recycled kind of, and having us re-articulate things through the student feedback is absolutely the way to go, especially with applied linguistics students who are looking at it as a professional opportunity, more than just I'm going to college because everybody does, kind of, right? Right,
Yeah.
Great. So thank you so much, Peter. We don't want to keep you too much longer. We're almost at wrap up time. So thank you so much. I don't know what to look. Thank you.